Hey everyone, ever thought about learning to code? Or maybe you've heard the advice, follow your passion, and wondered if it really holds up.
Yeah, follow your passion. It's everywhere, right?
It is. But today we're going to take a deep dive into that idea and see if it actually makes sense, especially when it comes to coding.
Especially with coding, yeah.
You might be surprised to hear that follow your passion might not be the surefire path to success it's often cracked up to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we're dissecting this article called Why Follow Your Passion is Bad Advice for Learning to Code.
Okay.
And this isn't just for the techies out there either. We're going to uncover some insights that apply no matter what field you're in. This deep dive might even make you rethink some of those inspirational quotes you see all over the place.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, it makes you think twice about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So the article jumps right in and says follow your passion is actually flawed advice, particularly for those who want to learn to code.
Oh, wow.
And it goes on to break down this idea by pointing out 4 major problems with it.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first problem is it assumes passion is something you just find, like a hidden treasure.
You just stumble upon it.
Yeah, exactly. But more often than not, passion comes from actually doing something and putting in the effort.
So it's not something you're just born with.
Not necessarily. The article argues that you actually develop passion after you've invested time and energy in a skill.
So it's more like a result of hard work.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that chicken and egg thing.
Great.
Comes first, right?
Yeah.
The passion or the experience.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
It is. And this article suggests it's often the experience that sparks the passion.
Mm.
But follow your passion kind of gives you this overly optimistic view.
Yeah.
Like you'll be happy and excited at every step of the way.
I see.
But the reality is,
It's not always rainbows and sunshine.
it's not. There's going to be challenges and setbacks no matter what.
True.
And that brings us to the second problem with this advice. Unrealistic expectations. It creates this illusion that coding is going to be fun and exciting all the time. But let's be real, even in fields you're passionate about, there's going to be tedious tasks and moments of frustration. Coding is no different.
Right, you have to debug and stuff like that.
Exactly. And remember that time I was trying to figure out HTML and CSS?
Oh, yeah. What happened?
It was a steep learning curve, let me tell you. And debugging. Forget about it. There were times I wanted to throw my computer out the window.
I can imagine.
But the article also makes a point that really hit home. Focusing too much on passion can actually prevent you from seeing the bigger picture.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it can make you overlook those valuable skills that are in high demand right now.
Oh, I see.
You could be super passionate about something, but if those skills aren't needed in the job market, it might be tough to build a successful career.
So you need to balance passion with practicality.
Exactly. You got to consider which skills will make you a well-rounded and employable candidate. Passion is great, but it doesn't pay the bills.
True.
And the final problem with follow your passion, as this article puts it, is that it can be super limiting.
Limiting.
Yeah, if you get fixated on what you think you're passionate about now, you might miss out on a ton of other opportunities and interests.
So keep your options open.
Exactly. Especially in tech. Things are changing all the time.
That's true. It's like looking at a huge menu and only ordering the same thing every time.
Yeah, you might be missing out on some amazing dishes. The tech field is constantly growing with new languages and technologies popping up all the time.
Right.
So it's important to stay curious and open-minded.
Makes sense.
So those are the 4 main problems the article points out with follow your passion. But now let's dig into the issues that are specific to aspiring coders.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Sounds good.
All right, so first up, let's talk about persistence.
Okay.
Learning to code, it's not a quick thing. It's a long haul,
Yeah.
There are going to be times when you hit a roadblock, your code just doesn't work, and you feel like giving up.
I've been there.
And passion alone, it won't get you through those tough spots. You need grit determination, that willingness to keep going even when it's frustrating.
It's like anything worth doing right. It takes effort.
Exactly. And it's those moments of struggle that really shape you as a coder.
You come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah. And this ties into another point the article makes. The tech field, it's always changing. What's popular today might be outdated tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A programming language you're excited about now could be old news in a few years.
It's like trying to catch a moving target. You always got to be adapting.
You said it. And that brings us to the third issue with follow your passion when it comes to coding. It can make you focus too narrowly. How so? Well, you might get laser focused on one specific area of coding, like front-end development, for example.
Okay, so that's the part that makes websites look good, right? The visual stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The user interface. The part that users actually interact with.
I can see how that would be appealing to some people.
For sure. But if that's all you focus on, you might miss out on other important areas, like back-end development.
Okay, so what's that?
It's all the behind-the-scenes stuff that makes a website or app actually work. The logic databases, algorithms, all that good stuff.
So it's like the brains of the operation.
Exactly. And while it's cool to specialize, it's also good to have a broader understanding of different areas.
So you're more well-rounded.
Right. It's like being a chef who can bake a cake and cook a gourmet meal.
No, that's impressive.
And the final point the article brings up is that follow your passion. Doesn't take into account the learning curve.
Oh yeah, the learning curve can be tough.
Especially in the beginning. No matter how passionate you are, those early stages can be a real grind.
You're learning new concepts, syntax. It can be overwhelming.
But if you're expecting to feel super passionate from day one, you might get discouraged and quit before you really get a chance to see if you like it.
Yeah, you got to give it time.
And that's actually a really important point. The article doesn't just tear down follow your passion. It actually offers a better approach.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Instead of trying to find that one perfect passion, they suggest we focus on 3 things: skill development, cultivating interest, and creating value.
I like that. It's more proactive.
Exactly. It's about taking charge of your journey instead of waiting for something to magically happen.
So how do we actually put this into practice?
Well, first things first, you gotta focus on building valuable skills.
Okay, that makes sense.
Instead of trying to figure out your passion right away, just dive into learning the fundamentals.
Start with the basics.
Yeah. Build a strong foundation and go from there.
It's like learning an instrument. You don't start by composing a symphony. You learn the scales and chords first.
Exactly. And as you're building those skills, it's important to enjoy the process.
Yeah, don't get too caught up in the end goal.
Celebrate those aha moments and just have fun with it.
That's a good reminder. And speaking of exploring, the article also encourages us to try different things.
Oh yeah, don't limit yourself to one specific area. Branch out and see what else is out there.
It's like trying new foods. You never know what you might discover.
You might find something you unexpectedly love. And while we're out there exploring and building our skills, it's also important to think about the bigger picture.
Okay, what do you mean?
The article talks about aligning your skills with what the market needs.
So making sure your skills are actually in demand.
Right.
Yeah.
While you don't want to chase every trend, it's good to know which skills are valuable.
It just makes sense. It's like learning a language that a lot of people speak.
Exactly. And this is where things get exciting. Building projects.
Oh, I love building projects.
There's no better way to solidify your learning than actually creating something.
It's so satisfying to see your code come to life.
Whether it's a website, an app, or even a game, that process of building something is super empowering.
And you can learn so much from doing it.
Right. And imagine the feeling of creating something that actually helps people or solves a problem.
That's what it's all about. Using your skills to make a difference.
And there's this platform called Algo Academy that really embodies this approach.
Oh, I've heard of that. Tell me more.
So Algo Academy, they go beyond just teaching syntax. They focus on teaching you how to think like a coder, how to solve problems.
So it's not just about memorizing code, it's about understanding the logic behind it.
Exactly. And they use AI to personalize the learning experience so you get feedback and guidance that's tailored to you.
That's cool. It's like having a personal coding coach.
And they have a ton of resources and a big emphasis on hands-on projects.
Sounds like a great platform.
It is. And on top of all that, the article also gives some practical tips for people who are just starting out with coding.
Okay, let's hear them.
First tip, start with the basics.
Makes sense.
No matter what you want to do with coding, you got to master those fundamental concepts. It's like building a house, you need a strong foundation.
And the next tip is to choose a language.
Right. But don't stress too much about it.
There's so many to choose from.
There are a lot, but a lot of the core concepts are the same across different languages.
So just pick one that seems interesting and go from there.
Exactly. Some popular ones for beginners are Python and JavaScript.
I've heard of those.
Python is known for being easy to read and versatile,
Okay.
and JavaScript is used a lot for making websites interactive.
I see.
But the key is to just start coding and get some experience. You can always learn other languages later.
So don't overthink it, just dive in.
And the third tip is to practice regularly.
Consistency is key.
Even if it's just for a little bit each day, make time to code. it'll make a big difference.
It's all about building those good habits.
And speaking of habits, the article reminds us to embrace the struggle.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be challenges along the way.
There will
Yeah.
be. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to run into problems, but that's all part of the learning process.
Like how you grow.
Exactly. Those challenges help you develop your problem-solving skills and your resilience.
So don't give up.
And don't be afraid to use different resources to learn.
Like what?
There are online courses, tutorials, books, all sorts of things. Don't limit yourself to just one thing.
Explore and find what works best for you.
Exactly. Everyone learns differently. And another important tip is to start building projects as soon as you can.
The sooner the better.
The more you can apply what you're learning, the better you'll understand it.
And it's a great way to build a portfolio.
Right. If you want to get a job in coding, having a portfolio of projects is super valuable.
It shows potential employers what you can do.
And another tip that's often overlooked is to learn how to read other people's code.
Okay, why is that important?
It's crucial for collaboration. If you can understand code that someone else wrote, it'll make working on projects together a lot easier.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like learning a secret language.
And don't forget about soft skills.
Soft skills.
Yeah. Things like communication, teamwork, problem solving.
Those are important in any field.
They are. But especially in tech, where things are constantly changing and you're often working in teams.
So you need to be able to communicate your ideas effectively and work well with others.
Exactly. And another crucial tip is to stay updated.
Keep learning new things.
The tech landscape is always evolving, so you got to keep up with the latest trends and technologies.
It's like being a surfer. You got to adjust to the changing waves.
And finally, be patient.
That's a good one.
Learning to code takes time and effort. You're not going to become an expert overnight.
You got to be persistent.
And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Everyone starts somewhere.
It's a journey.
It is. So embrace it, celebrate your successes, and keep learning.
It's really about changing how we think. Instead of asking, what am I passionate about? Maybe we should be asking, what skills can I develop to make a real difference?
That's a great way to put it. It changes your whole perspective. Instead of waiting for passion to just hit you, you're taking charge and finding ways to learn and grow and contribute.
And who knows, maybe while you're learning and making a difference, you might just stumble upon a passion you never even knew you had.
It's all about the journey, right?
Exactly. It's about enjoying the process of learning and experimenting and always trying to improve.
I like that. And hey, maybe this deep dive has made you a little curious about coding.
Maybe you're thinking, maybe I should give this a try.
If you are even a little bit, I say go for it. You never know what you might find.
The world of coding is huge, and it's constantly changing. There's so much potential for creativity, problem solving, and innovation.
And you don't have to be a math genius or a tech expert to learn how to code. It's a skill anyone can learn with practice and dedication.
There are tons of resources out there too.
Yeah.
Online courses, tutorials, communities, all sorts of things to help you get started.
So if you're even a little bit intrigued, take that first step. Dive into a beginner-friendly tutorial. Try writing some code and see what happens.
You might discover a hidden talent, a new passion, or a whole new way of seeing the world.
And even if you decide coding isn't for you, the things we've talked about today apply to anything you want to do.
It's about being proactive, taking control of your learning and focusing on creating value.
So no matter what you're interested in, remember to keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing yourself to try new things.
The possibilities are endless. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's been great having you. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those passions burning bright.